Welcome to a simple Ajax tutorial. Ajax is a scripting language which allows us to asynchronously receive data from a web server using JavaScripting without needing to refresh or redirect the web page. Let's take a look at this in action. This will help you understand better. We have a simple index.html file. In it we have our JavaScript with two functions. Now we have a very simple page. It has a div called file, which is blank. In the body tag, it's got an onload event, doXMLPart. It calls doXMLPart, which is a function we've written. Obviously, it could be called anything. In doXMLPart, we have a string variable. We then call setTimeout. SetTimeout takes a time in milliseconds and a function name. That is, every 500 milliseconds, it'll call doXMLPart. In other words, this function will be repeatedly called every half a second. Next, we set up a variable for our XML object, and then we check which browser it is. Prior to Internet Explorer 7, Microsoft Internet Explorer used a slightly different methodology. Fortunately, they've standardized with what everyone else is doing. We then call the open method, and we pass in the method. We pass in the page it needs to retrieve from the server. In this example, we're only using a plain text file, but this could have been a PHP file or whatever. We use the XML send method, and then we have a look at the response text. The response text is whatever is contained in this file. If it were a PHP file, it would be the output of the PHP file. In other words, what you would have seen in a web browser. If the response text is not blank, we write what's currently in our div below, plus the response text to this variable, and we then write that all back to the div. In other words, whatever is in the file, we add to the web page. That all gets done without the web browser needing to be refreshed or redirected. We then call a function called clearFile. ClearFile uses another Ajax script. In this case, it calls a file called deleteFile.php. DeleteFile.php just simply opens the file tags.txt for write access and then closes it. This effectively deletes the content of it. In other words, what we're doing is reading in the context, adding it to the page, and then clearing the file so that we can check next time for any new material to be added to the web page. This is very convenient where you have multiple processes working together. For instance, on one application, we have a C++ program which reads information from conveyor belts. As goods move over the conveyor belt, that data gets dumped into the tags.txt file. The web page, if there's a browser viewing it, can display the contents of that file. In other words, it can pick goods up as they're moving across the belt and display it live to a user in real time, without the user needing to refresh or redirect the page. Let's see how this works. Right, we go to our page, which is initially blank. That makes sense. Nothing in the div part. Let's open up tags.txt. We're just going to manually fill in information. But as we said, this could have been any other process writing it. Another web server, another web page on your own server, even humans, or another piece of software. Let's close that file and save. And there you see the contents of the file is added. And because clearFile was called, the contents are made blank. Let's add something else. And there we go. Of course, we could also add any sort of formatting we wanted. As you can see, this works really well. However, there's a word of caution, and it's a very important one. Let's go to Internet Explorer 7 and run the same test. As you can see, no information is being displayed. Also, you can see here that our tags or text file is not being cleared. That means that this file is not running as it should. The problem with Internet Explorer 7 is that it uses some kind of extreme caching for all of its JavaScripting and Ajax. That means that as the page was loaded initially, the script ran and there was nothing in the file. So the first time it ran, it in fact worked. The next time it was called, I've changed the timeout to a second and a half. Every second and a half, it didn't work because it was calling up the cached version of what it had just done a few minutes ago, or a few seconds ago. This means that in Internet Explorer 7 you've got a major bug. But relax, there's a workaround for it. In order to overcome the caching, you need to simulate a unique page being called every time your Ajax script is called. We've just done this by adding a query string to the file with a random number. To get the random number, we've just taken the full date and time in seconds, plus added a count to it to make sure that it's unique. In other words, this count variable is a global variable, and each time this script gets called, I'm going to change that also to a second and a half. Every second and a half it'll get called with the date and the time in seconds, so it's pretty much always going to be unique. But to make sure, we add the count. We add that as a query string. We have to do the same to every call. So we do it to delete file 2. Let's have a look now at index file that's been corrected. Well, there we go. Now we can see our text being displayed and the file being cleared. So, if you need to run Ajax with Internet Explorer 7, or really, let me put it this way, you need to run Ajax in this fashion because you can't guarantee what browser your users will have. So, that's a very quick little tutorial on how to use Ajax scripting to import data into a web page without needing to refresh the web page, as well as taking care of the Microsoft Internet Explorer 7 bug. To see this in action in a more useful way, let's take a look at a demo website we're busy building for a real estate agent. Once a person is logged in, they can do a search for properties that match their criteria. In the listing, they can click to add these properties to their list of favorites. However, instead of requiring after every click the page to refresh and come back to this page, we've used Ajax. So the user clicks on the add favorite, an Ajax script gets called to add this property to the user's favorite, and it removes this button. That's because this button text is placed inside a div, and when the Ajax script returns, we just simply write a blank nothing to the div. If the user now goes to their list of favorites, they will see these properties listed under their favorites. That's a very simple example of how to use Ajax. Our little tutorial files will be found online. You can find them at www.softsmart.co.za/blog/web development/Ajax/using Ajax to load content dynamically without refreshing the page. I know that's quite a lot, but just go to selfsmart.co.za, click on Resources, Blog, and then do a search for Ajax. And you'll see the results there, using Ajax to load content dynamically. This gives you a text version of what we've just said, as well as a download link at the bottom. We hope you've enjoyed our tutorial.